everybody, welcome back to the third video to the playthrough of Mythic Draconis. Today we're going to be checking out our first boss fight in the Nexus. At this point, this content is still part of the demo. Like in the demo we have the first two levels and the first boss level. Of course in the demo it's much more complete, there's less enemies, there's a lot of things that haven't been refined and finished up on the demo, so it's a little bit of an earlier version. But again, on the demo you can actually, it's for free and you can play up to this level as well. So this is the first, this is the first level. First boss level we're going to find ourselves playing in. Now, this one here is one of those things that's going to really show you, I want to portray some of the things that you can actually do here with regards to how difficult it might be, because I think I'm making it look a little bit easier than it seems. Like for example, a lot of these locations here are very tight, as I pointed out on the previous video. It's not that easy to actually hit that ledge there and not get pushed in. I'm gonna try it, and I'll probably get pushed in. Yeah, it's very difficult. You know what? I got lives to spare. I'll try it one more time. Just got it. And it's very difficult at some of these points to actually really, get exactly. Like right there, I went a little bit too far to the right and he actually pushed me back in. So it's not as easy as it seems in some cases, Obviously the better choice in this location here is you can just jump on top of this and then jump behind them. This is another situation where, here we go, I managed to actually cut it short. Like if you do a normal jump, you'll jump there and that's around about where the enemy is, and he would, he would naturally push you in. But if you cut the jump short, you can actually fall in front of him, and even as I did it initially, you can even go even closer to the edge, like right there, or even less. So it's not as easy as it seems. I think because even though it's harder for me on the arcade stick, still it's much easier for me because I pretty much know a lot of these little tricks and how to actually go about them. Like for example, the skeletons, you can trick them into specific kind of movements. Like this guy's here, I can just go, you can jump and then have them, kind of like follow your path around. See if I have a better skeleton at some point to showcase it. I think I did at the beginning of this level, as they're coming towards you and they're about to come towards you, you just jump up. Or even on a small ledge like this, jump up, and then that is going to allow you to push them a little bit higher so your upwards hitbox can actually kill them off. So there's a little bit of strategy going into, knowing how you actually can play it even better, I would say, as a level. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I already lost 2 lives trying to get that guy at the bottom so I can showcase. So I can showcase that whole position. There we go, we got one health potion. That's going to help us. And this part here now is the part where the boss is at. Okay. He has some homing projectiles. And then he spawns some enemies. Kind of feeling like a necromancer kind of guy. He just killed me with his homing missiles. And he has fires that he actually puts on the ground. Those actually follow you around. Alrighty. You have to be careful when he does when his helmet comes off, you have to time it, like he, instead of having fires, instead of like resurrecting the guys, he actually has that beam. And we got him. It's a very dangerous beam that takes a lot of your life away. And that's the end of the first main boss encounter that we have in the game. This point, from this point onwards, it's after the demo, so none of this has actually been released publicly unless you actually purchase the game. Again, link in the description below. Get your copy today, guys, and go crazy on it. So there's a little bit of the story mode. And coming back to our encampment, as you can see, it kind of like changes in the daytime as well. Like it's now nighttime. You had started out in the day and it kind of went to afternoon, and now you know, according to the time of the day changes, it actually changes in the background here as well. So now we have both of these levels complete, and we have access to the Wolf Pass, which is the next level. I'd like to go into the encampment once more, your little shop. I have enough to actually purchase a Wingly now. I'm going to show this. The better strategy is to actually go for a Winged Glyph and a Spirit Glyph to start off, or a Power Glyph and a Vortex Glyph. What those do is they actually increase your life pool. That's the better strategy. Try to get these first. Like don't go for the Glyph of Protection and the Wingly first of all. Like if I could give any pointers, I mean you could do whichever way you want. But for me personally, after a lot of testing, obviously quite a bit of testing, I think that increasing your life pool helped a little bit more overall. I am going to go for the Wingly though, so I can showcase it. So I'm going to purchase that. It's the most expensive item here. And now we're left with 83 coins. We can purchase a health potion. Or I'll leave it like that, because I would like to die at some point. I have all my lives taken away, so I can show you what happens when you use up a continue as well. We'll go to the exit point. Usually it's a good idea to actually save at some of these points, you know, to just before you actually go in. Me personally, if I want to keep like a record as I'm playing, there's the save and exit option. Unfortunately, I didn't think of it, you know, when I was first designing it, that you just might want to save, because, well, usually you just save and exit. That's generally how it works. Especially because it kind of just keeps in record, like I explained in the previous video, the beginning of the level. So when you load up, it keeps the beginning of the level, not the middle point or wherever you're at. So just saving at any point is not something that you actually even really do. There's no point to it. That's why I never really actually added it. So we have the next level, which is the Wolf Pass. We have a little bit of story here. At this point here, the plot thickens, and we're starting to have some more introduction to other characters. Again, mild spoilers. Obviously there's going to be story spoilers here and the whole progression of the game as well. But yeah. I'm going to jump right into it. If you want to read the lore, you can actually pause those shots and read it as well for yourself. So now we're going to the third actual level you can play. So we have, it's the fourth level in line, but it's the, you know, we have like the third level is actually a boss level, and this one here is the fourth level, but it's the third proper level. Now we have a Wingly on top of us, as you can see. It shoots at the enemies. I'll try to block. This guy's a little bit of a brute. He's a bit of a tank. It'll take some time to kill him. See if I can kite him a little bit. So it's not going to completely help you. It's not overpowered. It's pretty much kiting him. It does very small damage. Even this enemy here, which is, you know, of smaller health, we'll see that it will take quite some time to actually kill him. So it's not an overpowered kind of effect, but it does help you enough during the battle to actually make some damage. It's a pure, just offensive upgrade you can buy for your character. But it does help. It does help to actually, you know, get things rolling a little bit faster and help you, you know, shoot other enemies while you're fighting as well. There's a way to actually get to this. If you try to jump down to it, you're gonna die. So again, part of the puzzle. I'm gonna show that. Now, for this design, for this level, it was a little bit more difficult to actually design. I had a lot of fun because I was trying to create trees and forests, but at the same time, kind of like dead marshes and, you know, some swamp areas and whatnot. And as you can see, this enemy, even though I killed him, he's respawned and he's come back. So, wherever you see these seals here, they're like the demon seals. Basically, from here we have enemies that are constantly respawning. And they're on a timer. As soon as that timer actually reaches the point where they need to respawn, if it notices that the enemy underneath a certain portal is not there, it's going to respawn a new enemy. So I'll wait for that and show you the spawn animation as well. So a little bit of a different enemy type at this point again. Basically they're all projectile based. You know, so they have like different kind of like projectiles, homing, arcing. Then there's the large projectile you can't crouch under. There's a normal fireball you can crouch under. This guy here has the big one, the big fireball. And then there's the other guy that has a smaller fireball, but he can move around. This guy here can't move. And they're a little bit weaker. The thing is that these guys constantly respawn. And you can also farm them. Like if you kill a whole bunch of them and come back to the beginning of the level and then kill more of them, you can farm them for some extra gold and whatnot. The bats are pretty much working like the skulls. Again, ways to traverse in Mythic Draconis. Don't forget you can climb. And if I can't climb here, or maybe if I jump and I press up, I can climb. So just showing that because it's not like a real secret. That's just really knowing how the game works. Check different locations if you can climb onto them or not. I'm going to take the opportunity in this level to actually show some extra stuff as well. Again, more secrets. I'm not showing you any of the puzzles in this location. The puzzles in this location, they've kind of they've break that down. The puzzles in this location, they have you know, they've increased in difficulty and complexity. Here we have our first key, and there's a you know, a lever here. Not going to go into the rest of that. So this guy here is a different kind of enemy. You can see he has a different fireball, and he shoots them much faster, and he also moves away from you, so he's a little bit more difficult to actually counter around. This is the underneath area. So we went from the top. Again, trying to have that swampy kind of lake feel to it, with different parts having like, you know, swamps and stuff to it and vines. Again, every tile set is, I'm not using any tile sets a second time. Every single location is unique. Alright. Kite him so I can actually get my health potion and drink it. We can't make that jump. We break the tree down. Wherever there isn't a portal, like a demon portal or a small demon gate, those enemies don't respawn. So if we go up here, there were a couple of portals. You'll actually see that some of those enemies have respawned by now. As you can see straight away, we see a fireball coming towards our direction. So this game has been respawned. And wherever we see those little demon gate portals, the enemies respawn. See if I can showcase that whole thingy with the flying enemies that are sending. You jump like that and then you bring them upwards, but I guess my wing will kill them. They have very small amount of health pool anyway, so they kill them off pretty easily. Again, showcase that the wingly, it's not entirely like, you know, overpowered, but it is actually, you know, helping you out without you even realizing sometimes. It's just an extra damage. Like this guy, he's already half dead by the time I get to him. So it's a very handy upgrade as well. It's a little bit difficult in their locations. Purposefully so. Again, let this game have its difficult moments. I mean, just wouldn't be fun if it's just a breeze. Of course, you can turn it on easy difficulty, and yeah, you're gonna have more lives, more health potions, and everybody's easier to kill at that point. So we have a cave system here. We can walk into the cave. And then we find a dead end at this point. And also dead end at this point. We can't make that jump. So we go back up and we continue our journey forward. It was a lot of fun putting this level together actually. So this guy here is a homing attack. Here's much more faster fireballs that he shoots, and he can move back and forth. We have the door, and that's our first checkpoint, and we can open it with our first key. Small lore, and so there are like bits and pieces of lore as well that you can actually read, as well as hints and personal, like, you know, thoughts that the character might be having during his endeavor in here. Now, at this point here, again, if you read the notes, you can jump off walls. So never forget to check what locations I can actually jump off walls and stuff. I'll leave it at that because the rest of it is also, well, since I went up that way anyway, I might as well just collect these locations, these parts. And then from then on, we also have, you know, a whole bunch of other mechanics and elements in every location that might help you forward. So never forget to try and find locations that you might be able to climb, or walls that you might be able to jump off and stuff like that. This guy here is very hard, like that thing is unblockable. So make sure you kill him with care. Now this location here is blocked off. There's vines and stuff here. Can't move forward. And also down here you'll notice there's a small chest with gold. Also in the previous level, if you noticed, I also at that level didn't collect the gold because it was also part of the puzzle. Same here, it's part of the puzzle. And there's also a lever down there as well. That's part of you know, this portion up here that you have to find a way to unlock. Again, very mild spoilers on this playthrough. As you saw, you can walk underneath fireballs. It's just that those guys, they can move back and forth, so you know you don't have enough speed to walk towards them. You have to stand up at some point to actually get to them. This guy is a little bit dangerous, so we're gonna come from this side. Or we could have just sit there and kited them. Like, if there's an enemy, by the way, you want to play like extra careful, and there's an enemy that can't get to you, like, you can totally use your winglet to kill them off. And again, as I said, it doesn't. The winglet doesn't have like, you know, it doesn't do too much damage, you know, but it does enough, and it does help you out eventually. And there you go, he's dead. It's a pretty good power up. Now this is a gem here. We can't get to it. There's a whole puzzle for it. Basically, the puzzles are for collecting the gems. If you look at the bottom, we have 7 slots. And there's 2 fragments for each one of those slots, and you need to collect all 7 fragments to actually power yourself up at the end of the game. It's part of it's part of the story as well. Again, climb up. This one here you can just climb up straight away. New enemy type. He checks your location, he throws lightning on it. Another pretty dangerous enemy type, I would say. I think I'm okay here. Oh, just. Moving forward. Hope I don't die. I don't have much health. Someone has. And this is the second key. I'll come around this way to kill this guy better. Okay. You can jump up on this, break this down, and there's a lever here again. If you come to the end, here you just fall to your death, and there's a bridge. It's pretty self-explanatory, so you don't have to do too much to actually figure it out. You just press up on the lever, and the bridge comes down. And I had to die in the last moment. Anyway. The puzzles at this point are getting quite much more, advanced. When we do the walkthrough, I'll do the walkthrough series, which I'm actually going to showcase all the secrets and all the puzzles as well. You'll see how they're slowly getting more and more intricate and much more detailed in terms of in terms of difficulty and what the puzzles are requiring you to do. So this is the final part of the level, the final checkpoint. We got both keys. Open the door, and we're done. As you've noticed, there's a small kind of pattern here so far. Let's go into the encampment. Let's see if we can actually just get our first upgrade here. And I'm going to go straight away for life upgrades. Okay? Give myself more health. You can see down at the bottom where the dragon icon is with my health. The glyph turned on it, the spirit glyph. And this has given me more life. So I would recommend going for these first to increase your life. It almost goes to double. And then go for the glyph protection and the winglet, but you can go this way as well. I mean, as you see, it does help. Like these two help quite a bit as well. So that is also a viable kind of strategy. Because there were 2 chests of gold that I haven't actually picked up from not being able to do the puzzles or not sharing the puzzles. I'm actually 200 gold coins less than what I would be at this point. So at this point here, you should be at 294, average around about 294 gold instead of 94, which is just enough for you to actually purchase a second wing glyph as well. So it does pay off to actually do those other puzzles as well. Not to mention that in some of those puzzle areas there's more enemies, so it's not just those 2 extra chests, it's other enemies, extra collectibles, and you'll easily probably go to maybe even 350 at that point to maybe collect the blood glyph instead. Now in the story, if you noticed when I was talking to that new character, they gave me an item and it's a map. Wolf Pass is now complete and we're up to Darien Mountain. This map here, we'll go over and we'll press up. It actually reveals to us some hints with regards to how we're supposed to go about the puzzles in every level. There's a small, it shows like a path. If you read the story as well, she's actually trying to gain your trust. This new character, she's a witch, and basically kind of tells you that this is the path that you have to go to find the Mythic Draconis. And she advises you to, instead of destroying the gemstones like your mentor advises you, she tells you to find those gemstones and actually use them to empower yourself. So on this map here we have the entire layout of the game. We start on Old Parian, and underneath it says the Bloodstone. This is a map pretty much trying to give you like some hints for the puzzles to each of the stones. So, as I was saying, there's a small little pattern here that you might notice, it gets a little bit more difficult in how the puzzles themselves actually become more and more difficult. The other pattern is that you actually don't really need to do any of the puzzles to progress in the story. Like the keys are part of specific points on the map that you're going to have to go through anyway, and they're pretty easy to get, so you can actually move forward. This changes on some maps, like as we would see on the next map, Darien Mountain. It's the first map that you actually need to kind of do a little bit of puzzling to finish the level, so you might actually hit a wall there a little bit. Another part where the pattern actually changes is the thicket for the Moonstone. At the thicket there's no puzzles at all. Like the thicket is one of those locations that has no puzzles. It's just hack and slash, and there's just a bunch of enemies in there, and it kind of goes, I guess, a little bit with the lore as well. It's just a forgotten forest that you go through, so it doesn't really make sense to have lore-wise. Somebody wouldn't put puzzles there for some strange, there's no reason for it to actually have any puzzles to it. Darien Mountain, on the other hand, you can argue, well, it's just a mountain. Yeah, but it was kind of like a keep of a lot of different things, let's just say. So there was a point to the Darien Mountain to actually have some puzzles to it as well. The same as the Wolf Pass, it is the location of the Lycan, so the keep of the Lycan and the Were Demon. So, and also the Dread Bluff is a location where it's like the gate to the Nexus, and it has a lot of ancient religions that they were worshipping at that time. Old Parian is a town, so all these locations actually make sense to have puzzles. The thicket doesn't, and in this means I'm also breaking a little bit the pattern, so it's not very monotonous, and it's not just the same thing, rinse, repeat, and it's just a different puzzle. I mean, every puzzle is completely different in every location, and the actual format of how you're going to go about discovering these puzzles and figuring them out. But again, I didn't want to have that entire same pattern kind of repeated everywhere. And like I said, in Darien Mountain, for example, it's the first level that you're going to come across where you need to do a little bit of puzzling to get that second key so you can actually progress in the story. Whereas all the other ones so far, as you can see, I don't need to do any puzzles at all whatsoever, and I can just straight up get both keys and progress to the end of the level. The thicket, on the other hand, has no puzzles in it at all whatsoever. Now, with regards to this little map here, we have like a small riddle on each location. Like for example, look at Old Parian, the Bloodstone. It says the fragments will be birthed to life from fires below and called from above. It might make sense if you actually figure the puzzle out, but it's meant to be a little bit kind of vague. And with this, with some help of the in-game kind of like hints that you might have, you might figure out what you're supposed to do. The biggest telling point here, however, on each one of these, and I think that's the biggest helping point of this map, is where underneath it has requirements. And it says, for example, again, Old Parian, the Bloodstone. Underneath the riddle, it says requires 2 ice spells and 2 fire spells. So this straight away starts to make you think that, okay, I need to use 2 ice spells somewhere in the map and 2 fire spells somewhere in the map, in the level action of the map, somewhere in the level, to actually find and unlock this, this specific puzzle. Now these aren't they're not in any specific order. So it's not like, oh, it's 2 ice spells and then 2 fire spells. It could be like 1 fire spell, 1 ice spell, 1 fire spell, 1 ice spell, or 1 fire spell, 2 ice spells, 1 fire spell, or whatever other combination. It just tells you overall what you're required to actually to do the puzzle in this location. It tells you 2 ice spells, 2 fire spells. The Dreadblood, for example, says 1 ice spell, 1 storm spell, and 1 fire spell. Again, it gets you thinking that, okay, maybe I need to have some I need to use a storm spell at some point. It gives you, like, that's the biggest telling point with regards to the hints. Once you reach this point, this can be very helpful, kind of like little riddle map to actually get you to try different things out and figure out the puzzles. And if we move left or right, get away from it. And that's kind of one of the biggest reasons also, aside from just trying to farm some extra gold, one of the biggest reasons to being able to go back to previous locations is to collect the gemstones. So if you haven't actually been able to collect the gemstone, or you found one fragment but you didn't find the other fragment, or you're able to do half the puzzle or none of the puzzle, you're able to go back to the previous locations, and having now the riddle map as well, you can have a second shot or a third or fourth shot at figuring out how you might actually go ahead and unlock the puzzle and get yourself those fragments. So at this point, don't forget, we also have access to the map, and now we're ready to go into Darren Mountain, which is going to be covered on the next video. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys on the next one, and as always, in the description below there's a link to the game. Head over and purchase your copy today and have some fun with Mythic Draconis. I'll see you guys on the next one.